Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to Harry's Highlights. On this video, we're going to be talking about the book Digital Minimalism by Newport. Now this is all about understanding how the digital world is affecting us nowadays and basically how we can focus on the most valuable technologies in our life and then happily miss out on the rest. It's a new philosophy on looking at the way that the world is moving and basically retaking control of a lot of areas of life that are being almost invaded by a lot of digital technologies in positive and negative ways, but ensuring that we have complete control, or as much control as we can given the circumstances. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not about shunning outright all technology outright. It's about protecting ourselves from the potential downsides of technology. Now, as we all know, technology, has huge improvements and has helped leapfrog, humanity in multiple positive ways. But as with anything, there is pros and cons. And there are some cons to the digital world and the way that the world is moving in. So it's about finding the right balance between them and mitigating risks, minimizing potential hazards, and basically finding philosophies, techniques, and foundations for us to be able to maintain as much control as we can over something that we have, in some ways, very little control over. See, if you understand or think about how some people have digital addictions, they feel so compelled to buy or own the next digital product, whatever that may be. Some people it's ingrained in them. Some people it's a learned habit. Some people it's based on status. Some people based on, stimulation, just because they feel bored, they want to try something new. But what digital minimalism is about, and some of the philosophies in here, is about understanding how to overcome digital addiction. For some people, it's almost like they've spiraled out of control with it, where they have, every gadget, everything in their house is interconnected, the Internet of Things, they can basically send a text message to their TV, toaster, and kettle all at the same time. And they feel like they are so ingrained and such a part of it that they almost identify as one with technology. Obviously an extreme version, but an explanation of where some people are at. This here is about explaining certain ways and philosophies, techniques, and systems to overcome digital addiction so that it becomes a choice, not a necessity. So some of the things they talk about there is about how clutter is costly. Now this is talking about how some people have so many different types of, they might have 3 weather apps. They might have, 8 kinds of, this sorts of technology, and they have a computer for this, a computer for that, a computer for this one, 2 types of tablets, all these different technologies that they have without an efficient or effective system for them all. They basically have them for the sake of having them. And what he talks about in this one is about understanding how to basically declutter all of that digitalism in their life to a way, and then reintroduce it one by one based on what they need or what they absolutely want. That way, you're not feeling constantly overwhelmed by, bombarded with a bunch of different notifications from, a multitude of different devices. It's about streamlining a lot of things so that you feel like when you want to, you'll check your messages. When you want to, you'll respond to that alert. Instead of everywhere you go, some new form of in-your-face confrontational notification of that ding, 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 ding. If you don't, answer this straight away, that almost immediate anxiety you feel of feeling when you decide to ignore a notification of some kind. It's interesting how he talks about how we've basically been pushed into this digital life without really asking for it. As it's slowly crept in so many different areas, it's become so synonymous that everyone knows certain ringtones. Before, we used to personalize everything. Nowadays, more than 50% of people have the same ringtone that just came standard with their phones. We know when we hear that sound, we know what it is. That's an email, that's a text message, that's a phone call, And how many people hear a phone go off and they go, is that mine? It's no longer personalized anymore. It's so herd mentality of that we all have the same sort of identity when it comes to these notifications. But nobody really asked for it. It's just something that's slowly crept in and slowly grown over time. And what this digital minimalism is about how to understand that, like, do I need all of these things? Do I need, this smart watch, this smartphone, this smart, laptop, smart tablet, smart computer, smart fridge, smart washing machine? Everything seems to be connected to everything at the moment. And I can't, it's almost like people feel like they can't leave a room without experiencing, all these other forms of technology that are sending some sort of message to them, constantly bombarding them with this new information about something they need to do or something they've missed or somebody wants to make contact with them. It's just, there's never a quiet moment. Now, the problem with this is that you've got this unpredictable positive reinforcement because, for example, with social media, when you seem to post something, there's no guarantee you're going to get feedback straight away. So you have to wait. And whether that might be you wait 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 5 hours, 5 days, you don't know when someone's going to, like it or comment on it or provide some sort of positive feedback on that one. So you're in this constant state of anxiety and almost readiness of, like, when I hear that sound, okay, that's my phone, that's a notification. Was it something good? Was it something bad? Was it the person I liked? Was it the person I disliked? Was it, like, what that person get? Was that my boss? Was that my friend? There's so much uncertainty and you're constantly on edge waiting for some form of unpredictable positive reinforcement. There's no pattern to it. People try, like, I'll post something at this time because this is the time when most people will be online. I should get the best chance. It's really like a game of chance. Like, you can stack your odds, but at the end of the day, they're still odds. There's no predictable solution to it. And this social approval, it feeds a very old, primitive mentality of gaining the tribe's approval. I did this, the tribe approves. And this digital version of it now is that I posted this photo, does my social tribe approve? And we seem to be getting conditioned to be so hungry for that. And so our self-identity is based on, like, how much of my social tribe approves of this? How many of them disapprove of it? Is it even being noticed? It's slowly shaping our entire reality to the point where there's one side where people feel like that they have to be so overly connected, yet still feel unusually isolated, and the other side, which is voluntarily isolating and very disconnected, but happier, where the other ones that are overly connected and unusually isolated are unhappy. And so it's causing this warped sort of views for the entire world. And what digital minimalism is about trying to understand it, explain it, and then provide potential solutions for people that want to explore a different way of living. It's not maximizing their digital consumption, but minimizing it. See, there's some people that have a philosophy on this, and it speaks about it in the book, about life cost, which was basically written, or a philosophy by an American philosopher, David Thoreau, which was talking about that there's a life cost for everything. And he defines it, whether it be immediate or long term, it's not just the exchange of product for money, there's also other hidden costs. For example, the maintenance, the time and effort it costs to maybe acquire that or maybe make it. There's other factors in it that it costs, like the ongoing costs of it. There's all these other factors that you cost some way, and it takes up some part of your life, whether it be time, energy, money, some other resource that costs you, that you pay. And so understanding that sometimes some of these things are like this overly connected world we live in now, there's more life cost to it than we realize. We might be receiving one thing at a sacrifice for another. And this digital minimalism is just trying to highlight some of those things and making sure that people are aware of it. If they're happy with it, that's fine. If they're not happy with it, now they have a better understanding of it as well. So it's about giving people the explanation and highlight of the whole picture, and then giving them the option to choose what they would prefer. So to quickly summarize, This was all about understanding, focusing on the most valuable technologies in your life, and then happily missing out on the rest. Providing a way to for you to minimize digital products in your life. But not about shutting them outright, just protecting ourselves from the potential downsides, about overcoming digital addiction that some people are experiencing. Highlighting certain things, how like clutter is costly and that too many digital products can sometimes be overwhelming and unorganizing and basically hindering rather than helpful. It's about how we've basically been pushed into more of a digital life without ever specifically asking for it. That unpredictable positive reinforcement is affecting people in such a negative way that we're becoming so tied to digital devices now that some people feel like they can't live without it. That constant hunger for social approval, which is such a primitive thought process that has been ingrained in us, is what's driving people to do more, give more, in not always positive ways. And understanding overall the life cost of this all, that whether it be immediate or long term, that sometimes there's more hidden costs that we might be missing. Now, if you can view all of these things with an open mind, you'll have a better understanding of digital minimalism. Now, I'll be making a lot more of these videos for this training series to help you with your personal development goals. That's all for now though. So until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next episode of Harry's Highlight.